colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, this is just the beginning, and a very nice and comfortable beginning with a dinner, to a forum that is in one sense a celebration, but in another sense also a reminder that we still have a great deal of work to do. Our societies depend on chemicals as never before, on petrochemicals as never before. The risks that are associated with the extraction, the processing, the use, and the disposal of these substances is, in some respects, also a cumulative one on our planet. We in the United Nations Environment Programme have taken the notion that environmental sustainability and economic progress and development at the beginning of the 21st century can no longer define themselves as opposites.
Growth in the industrial sector has been a valuable element of economic development strategies in many countries worldwide. However, rapid industrialization presents also increased risks of industrial accidents that can cause adverse impacts on public health, the environment, and local or even national economies. In late 1986, as a response to the major industrial accidents in Seveso, Bhopal, Mexico City and Schweizerhalle that resulted in deaths and injuries, environmental damage and extensive economic consequences in the surrounding communities, the United Nations Environment Programme suggested a series of measures to enable governments, in close cooperation with industry, to minimize the occurrence and harmful effects of chemical accidents and emergencies. In particular, UNEP launched the Awareness and Preparedness for Emergencies at Local Level program. The APELL program focuses on raising community awareness of industrial hazards and risks. Its 10-step process aims at building local capacity for multi-stakeholder responses in the case of an emergency in the community. The heart of APELL is the creation of a coordinating group of local authorities, community leaders, and industry that cooperatively work to develop integrated emergency preparedness and response.
The APELL process is a very good tool in order to prepare my community, to awareness the community, and to make an emergency plan in case of a big accident.
As part of the APELL process, existing emergency plans in the local area are reviewed to determine whether all risks have been addressed. This is followed by integrating the reviewed local emergency response plans, including industry plans, into one overall plan for the community. To achieve the objectives of the APELL process, it is essential to educate all participating groups about the integrated plan and ensure that all emergency responders are trained. A critical element of APELL is community involvement and public education at all steps of the process. Public should know what to do during an emergency, where to turn for additional information, and how and when to evacuate if necessary.
You can approach community preparedness as having a good understanding of the risks that are present in the community. And that means you have to develop communication with everyone who is handling the hazardous chemicals in that community.
Over the years, the APELL program has successfully introduced multi-stakeholder emergency preparedness in the chemical, mining, tourism and transport sectors, port areas and storage facilities, for which UNEP has developed specific guidance materials. To date, the APELL process has been introduced in at least 80 communities representing more than 30 countries, including Argentina, China, India, Colombia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Brazil, Russia, Chile, Peru, and Romania. Despite the fact that much progress has been made in chemical safety management and emergency preparedness since the Bhopal accident in 1984, accidents involving hazardous substances still occur frequently and often with tragic results. Many countries are becoming more industrialized, and often new hazardous installations are being located in communities that had not previously faced industrial risks. Therefore, there is a clear need for the concerted efforts of all stakeholders to build local capacity for better emergency preparedness. Industry's commitment to improved safety, information disclosure and risk communication is of particular importance.
We move faster than most of legislations can move. So we really depend on systems such as APELL and responsible care to make sure that the public will be safe. We are all in the business of causing no harm to people or the environment.
For Petrobras, it's our main goal with APEL process is to make more and more confident the communities where we have our operations to be a credible process in our oil and gas operations in Brazil.
In November 2011, Beijing hosted the Global APEL Anniversary Forum that was organized by UNEP in partnership with the Ministry of Environmental Protection of China and with Renmin University of China to mark 25 years of the APEL program. The event was attended by high-level officials and speakers, including Vice Minister Zhang Lijun, representing the Ministry of Environmental Protection of China, Mr. Achim Steiner, UNEP's Executive Director, as well as representatives of Renmin University of China, the Joint Environment Unit of UNEP and the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the International Council of Chemical Associations, Petrobras, and the Dow Chemical Company.
This is exciting. Of course, Dow Chemical has been in China for many years. It's always nice to have an opportunity to contribute to the continual improvement in the country. This is very, very good.
This evening we are, in a sense, making sure that it was not just for 2 years that we had a project, but really some project also, which I'm very
absolutely. Yeah. This is a journey.
The Global APEL Forum attracted over 150 participants from 17 countries, including representatives from government agencies, international companies, industry associations, research institutes, technical institutions, large-scale chemical and mining companies, and civil society, as well as Chinese participants from environmental emergency management bureaus. The opening ceremony was followed by a partnership-building reception accompanied with performances by students from Renmin University. On the next day, the Global APEL Forum kicked off commemorating the past quarter-century of achievements and presenting an opportunity to share experiences and lessons learned from implementing APEL projects, including ones in the Yangtze River Chemical Industrial Park in China, Barranquilla in Colombia, and Bahia Blanca, Argentina. APEL practitioners had also an opportunity to discuss the factors that contributed to the success of these APEL projects.
One of the key factors is that the APEL process encourage to sit at the same table local authorities, owners of the risk, and community. And the second one is to put the community at the very beginning in this context. This is one of the most important things that led APEL process to continuous working.
APEL has been the tool or the approach which has played given the level field for the communities as well as the industry, as well as the regulators to come into one table to discuss about the disaster management aspects.
For us, one of the factors is that anybody can start the APEL process, so it doesn't depend from the government or from a specific authority. So we were able to work with the private sector and the community at the beginning, and then as we move along, the process got more successful. The people like what they were doing, what they were learning.
APEL process, as we discussed today, is very useful for individual company as well as for an area, especially in China, when China is promoting the chemical industry parks.
What I've learned these last 2 days is what I was fairly certain I would know, is that the APEL process is sound.
The positive is that APEL is a good investment.
Other international and national APEL-related approaches for improving chemical accident management and reducing industrial risks were also presented during the forum. These included an overview of UNEP's Flexible Framework Initiative for addressing chemical accident prevention and preparedness, UNEP's Responsible Production Approach, the US Risk Management Plan Program and local emergency planning committees, the new Environmental Emergency Center being established by UNEP and OCHA, the Chemical Industry Responsible Care Initiative, and the International Cyanide Code.
One of the values of the flexible framework, and one of the things that distinguishes it from the others, is that it tries to bring together at least the different conventions, different legal instruments in the field specifically of chemical accident prevention preparedness response.
By bringing together APEL practitioners from around the world, the forum allowed for an active sharing of best practices and lessons learned, and for active discussions on current opportunities and obstacles to further APEL dissemination and replication in both the chemical and mining sectors. Particular attention was drawn to APEL application in chemical industrial parks in China. While growth in the chemical sector has contributed to China's social and economical development, chemical facilities also present a significant risk of accidents. A number of high-profile accidents in recent years have focused attention of authorities, industries, and the public on the issue of chemical accidents in China. During the forum, all stakeholders stressed the importance of proactive strategies and measures for preventing chemical accidents involving local communities in the emergency planning process.
深深地体会到就是说，在防止风险、保障环境安全的过程中，需要发挥公众的作用，就是说公众的参与。我们现在感觉到中国国内好像我们目前还有些认识，认为这个防范这个环境风险啊，环境安全啊等等，好像就是政府和企业的事，好像与公众关系不是大。所以通过这次这个国际会议啊，包括以前我们举行的活动，我想更进一步的深刻的让我们大家认识到，做好风险的排查，保障环境安全，政府、企业、部门、公众都有责任。
经历了25年发展的APEL计划，之所以能够在多个国家生机勃勃，关键在于它根植于各国的环境保护的实际之中，因地制宜，与时俱进，使合作成为符合国家要求、人民要求和时代要求。
As part of the forum, UNEP and Renmin University of China signed a Memorandum of Understanding to promote wider cooperation, research, and capacity building in the areas of environmental emergency management and chemical accident prevention and preparedness in China. The Global APEL Forum also served as a platform for expanding public-private partnerships with the goal of increasing the application of APEL-related approaches worldwide and for collecting recommendations for improving the APEL process and expanding its application based on the experience of APEL practitioners.
A global APEL event that just happened is a very, very successful event because we can use this forum to celebrate the 25th anniversary of APEL, where we can have chemical companies, other industries, like government, as well as UNEP, and association like myself, gather together and share the successful experience as well as application of APEL in different countries. So in this case, that we can learn from each other, and then we can move on to go to the next 50 years of APEL.
I think this is very important because you can hear a lot of practical aspects that have been implemented in various countries and share their experience so that particularly this APEL process can be implemented with much more effective and efficient manner.
It was very interesting to learn experience from Romania, other countries also here in China. They were talking about the tailing dam issues, and to see how different countries basically have a similar problem, but they find the solution that works on the local level with the local legislation. That's one of the strengths of the APEL program, that it's flexible enough that it can be adapted to different realities.
Serves an excellent purpose. It was a need that was collectively agreed after some serious chemical incidents back in the 1980s. And the fact that we are celebrating 25 years of APEL shows that it was not only necessary, but the program has actually flourished to the point now where it is quite clear that we could not have done without it.
One of the main conclusions from the forum was that APEL remains a sound and useful tool for improving community awareness and preparedness for emergencies, and that it has good synergies with other related approaches. Speakers congratulated UNEP on the remarkable progress that has been made in many communities, especially in light of the limited resources available to support UNEP's efforts.
25 years, it makes us young.
I always say responsible care requires a heart. Similarly, APEL requires a heart.
Looking ahead to the next 25 years, I think it's even more important that we make better use of scarce resources and a reasonably small number of experts who are able to work with communities to help keep people safe.
For it's very clear that we can improve our relationships and support regional meetings in a regular basis. We are planning to 2012 to bring a lot of expertise from the outside to share with us, focusing mainly in Latin America.
For the future, we think is to get a better involvement from the local, from the central authority, the new Ministry of Environment, and it would be ideal to have it as a standard practice for all the mining and to generate all the transport of hazmat material in the country.
My vision is that to see that this same process will be replicated in other industrial zones, particularly in the other industrial zones, so that ultimately this the APEL process is going to be successful, so that the environmental problems that are being faced by these industrial areas can be solved.
I think we are going, and I'm very confident that the last year APEL process is growing all over the world, and my vision is that we must encourage other communities to apply APEL process. That is a very good, flexible tool to apply all over the world.
Over the years, APEL has proven to be a successful approach for addressing emergency preparedness for industrial accidents, natural disasters, and multi-hazards risks in local communities. UNEP is planning to continue its efforts in promoting, disseminating, and implementing the APEL process in Asia, Latin America, and Africa as a way of building local capacity in developing countries for better preparedness for disasters, thus preventing loss of life or damage to health and social well-being, and ensuring environmental safety at a community level.